as a generation of young Jews comes of age, some of them grandchildren, even great-grandchildren of Holocaust survivors, they seek new tools to educate their peers about the painful legacy of genocide and anti-Semitism experienced by their beloved elders. One of those tools is social media, and one of those utilizing the medium for Holocaust education is 19-year-old British Jew Dov Foreman, whose series of TikToks featuring his 99-year-old great-grandmother Lily Ebert, a Hungarian Jew who survived deportation to Auschwitz, have garnered millions of views. He also co-authored a book with Ebert titled Lily's Promise, and their work together has won praise from King Charles III for its engaging and effective use of social media for Holocaust education. Here's one of their TikToks.
Oh, I give you this stone to put it on my late father's grave.
I'll now be placing the stone on the grave of her father.
And joining us now for London is Dov Foreman, author of Lily's Promise, great-grandson of Holocaust survivor Lily Ebert. Dov, thanks for joining us. First of all, just tell us how this started, that you decided to use TikTok, use social media to educate about the Holocaust together with your great-grandmother.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me on today. This story really all started 3 years ago during the COVID pandemic, when for the first time in my life, I'd been separated from my great-grandmother for a prolonged period of time. I had grown up knowing that my great-grandmother was an Auschwitz survivor, hearing her story quite often, and she had promised herself when she survived the hell of Auschwitz-Birkenau and the horrors of the Holocaust that she would tell the world, until she couldn't anymore, her story of survival, but also all of the terrible things that she saw. So for me to see her during the COVID pandemic not able to do that, not able to go to schools and universities as she had done for so many years, was incredibly hard. And so I decided to try and help her in the best way that I understood how. And that was through social media. So I started documenting her story on Twitter, and then moved to TikTok. And within 3 months, we had 1 million followers. We now have over 2 million followers, and we've had over 1 billion views. And that's led to many other things, including, as you mentioned, the book, meeting King Charles, having his foreword in our book. And it's really incredible how many people have reached out in support of our goal, in support of our messages. And my great-grandmother really has one main aim, and that's to educate the younger generation, people my age and even younger. And unfortunately, the number of Holocaust survivors amongst us are dwindling with time, and rapidly dwindling at an alarmingly rapid rate. And it will soon become my generation's responsibility, the great-grandchildren, the grandchildren of the survivors, for everyone in society, to take these messages, to take the survivor stories and educate on their behalf, because soon they won't be able to anymore.
Right. Now, we saw in that TikTok you went to Hungary, of course, where your grandmother experienced the Holocaust, was deported from. Could you just briefly tell a story? You helped her make a personal connection with one of those relatives. Unfortunately, she lost there in the camps.
Yes. So my great-grandmother's mother, youngest sister, and youngest brother were murdered in the gas chambers of Auschwitz-Birkenau on the 9th of July, 1944. And last week, I travelled to Hungary for my first time to go and visit my great-grandmother's hometown, Bonyhard, where she was born and where she grew up. And she has amazing memories from those times. And unfortunately, my great-grandmother does not have nothing left from the time of her childhood to remind her of her youngest brother. She has some family photos, but her youngest brother is not in any of these photos. And I went to pick up a book, the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus, one of the 5 books of Moses, one of the Chumshei Torah. And I went to my great-grandmother's hometown, and the way that we found this book is actually quite unique. Someone had seen us on Hungarian TV, then decided to read our book and learn more, and realized that his father, an antique book collector, had a box of books from my great-grandmother's hometown hidden away in the back of his cupboard for 80 years. And he decided to look at this box, and very soon after opening a few of the books, he realized that inside one of the books was my great-grandmother's family name. And he didn't know that it belonged to my great-grandmother's youngest brother. But when he sent us a photo, I straight away realized, wow, this is Bela Engelman's book, my great-grandmother's youngest brother, who was murdered in Auschwitz on the 9th of July, aged 13, for no reason other than the fact that he was born Jewish. And how apt it is, the book we have of him is a Chumash, is a Jewish book. And my great-grandmother always says that he was a very religious and studious and serious boy. So it's so appropriate that the book we have of him is a chumash, is a religious text. And I went to pick this up and I showed it to my great-grandmother when I returned. She's unfortunately in hospital at the moment, but it was so special. And it's the only link that she has to her youngest brother. There is no photo, there's no grave. You saw I went to visit my great-grandmother's father's grave. Bela Engelman, her youngest brother, has no grave. His ashes are scattered around probably around the death camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau. There is no photo, no death certificate, no birth certificate.
Right. Now, you mentioned the praise you received, your efforts from King Charles III, no less. But what about the more important audience, your own peers, those who are watching these TikToks you're making?
I think we've had a mixed response. Some young people don't understand why I would use social media in this way to educate about this sort of topic. It's, of course, a very important topic, but it's one which maybe shouldn't be on social media, according to some people. I, of course, am not of that view. I think it's very important to use all avenues to educate about the Holocaust, to teach people about the worst tragedy in human history. So some of my peers have been very supportive. All of my friends personally have been very supportive, and they always consistently and constantly helping in any way that they can. But there are other young people who aren't so supportive. There are unfortunately a lot of anti-Semites on social media. But I like to focus on the positives, and I think about the millions of people who have reached out with the positive messages.
Right. Finally, how is this something you want to continue with briefly?
It's a good question. I'm not sure what will happen in the future in terms of my career. I know that I will continue to educate about my great-grandmother's story for as long as I can.
Right.
I'm currently working in the UK Parliament, where I'm sat right now in the office, working for a cabinet minister. So in terms of career, we'll see what happens.
All right, Foreman, thank you for joining. And of course, we wish the best to your grandmother, Lily Ebert, for all she has experienced. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.